Welcome to iOS versus Android development. Today we're talking about protocols and interfaces. In my last video we got some JSON using our networking client and created an array of post objects from it, which is all well and good, but now we need to display that data. The problem is our networking client can't update the UI directly, so it needs a way to communicate with something that is able to update the UI. In iOS, the way to do this is with a protocol. So we're going to make a protocol called the networking client delegate, and this will define functions that our view controller will be able to implement on behalf of our networking client. So what will it need to do? Well, it needs to do something when the posts are received, so we'll set up a function called didReceivePosts and give it our posts as an optional parameter as well as an optional error string parameter in the case of an error. Next, our networking client is going to need a delegate, an object that will perform a function for it. In our case, that object will be a post view controller. Now let's move to our post view controller. First, we'll have it conform to the networking client delegate protocol. Next, in viewDidLoad, we'll make this instance of post view controller the delegate of our networking client by setting its delegate equal to self. Then we'll implement the didReceivePosts method. We'll say if post is not nil, then set self.posts equal to posts, then reload our table view on the main thread. Otherwise, we'll print our error. Note here that I've already set up the table view delegate methods so that each cell will display the title and body of each post. Now we're ready to go back to our networking client and invoke the delegate method. If there's an error, we'll call didReceivePosts, but only pass in our error. We'll do the same thing if the status code isn't 200, if there's a problem parsing the JSON, and if there's a bad URL. But if there are no errors, we'll call didReceivePosts and pass in our array of posts. Now when we run our app, the networking client is able to communicate with the post view controller and our table view is loaded with the data. Now how can we do the same thing in Android? In Java, the way to communicate between unrelated objects is with an interface. So we'll start by adding an interface to our networking client class called postReceiveListener. This interface will have one method called didReceivePosts, and it will have an array list of posts as a parameter. Next, we're going to modify our getPost method to take a postReceiveListener as a parameter, really only so we can pass it to our async task. Next, the async task class will have a postReceiveListener, and in our getPostAsyncTask task constructor, its value will be set to the passed-in activity context. Then, when our posts have been received, we'll be able to call didReceivePosts on our postReceiveListener. And our main activity is going to be our postReceiveListener. In order to set that up, our first step will be to have our main activity implement the postReceiveListener interface. Then we'll pass in the main activity's context to our getPost method, and we'll implement the didReceivePosts method and have it call setPosts on our recyclerView adapter. And everything in the adapter has already been properly configured, so if we run the app, our main activity will be listening for the data, and when it comes in, our post will be displayed in the recyclerView. So which one's better? Well, to accomplish what I did in this video, there's really no difference between the two. They both just get the job done. With more complex implementations, it might be different. I'm not sure. Let me know what you think in the comments, and thanks for watching.